Good Friday morning of the first week of Advent. I'm going to read the Gospel again. I read the first reading from Isaiah. I got to tell you, it's completely over my head. I couldn't figure this. I didn't understand it. Okay, or if I did, it was too tough for me to explain it. Anyway, this text is fairly easy. It's from the Gospel, Matthew. Okay, as Jesus passed by, two blind men followed him, crying out, "Son of David, have pity on us." When he entered the house, the blind men approached him, and Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I can do this?" "Yes, Lord," they said. Then he touched their eyes and said, "Let it be done for you according to your faith." And their eyes were opened. Jesus warned them sternly, "See that no one knows about this," but they went out and spread the word of him through all the land. Okay? It's interesting. These blind men had faith, or they wouldn't have approached him. But their faith wasn't the wisdom. They still needed to see. See that? See, when he entered the house, the blind men approached him. And Jesus said to them, "Do you believe that I can do this?" To do what? See? All they said was, "Have pity on us." Didn't say, help us to see. That's interesting, isn't it, the text? And I don't know, in the earlier example, whether it's Matthew or Luke, where the blind man said, "Lord, that I may see," you have to assume maybe that's the case, but is it? See? "Do you believe that I can do this?" To do what? "Yes," they said. So then he did touch their eyes, and they began to see. See? Okay? "And let it be done to you according to your faith." They already had the faith. You see? Their eyes were opened. See? I think that is a beautiful prayer on the part of the blind men, because they have the faith, but now they seek the wisdom. They seek now not just to have faith, but to enter into the faith and see it, to see Christ. See? It goes from almost an external belief to an internal one. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You look at when you're growing up. You say, when you're little kids and growing up and you go to catechism or go to school and you get the faith, but it isn't the wisdom yet. It's hardly a difference between saying that Jesus is the Son of God and to say that Washington was the first president, meaning it's factual knowledge. When does it become a wisdom? It comes as you get older and you live the faith. I'm not saying anything right here. But we go from an external knowledge to an internal wisdom. And life is the teacher that takes us there. When what we believe and what we hold on to matters for our, in a sense, our spiritual and our mental, as it were, our survival. Because what you believe, the fundamental beliefs you have, is that we're both organize and energize our view of life and our place within it. Okay? That's why I think the wisdom literature is so important, or wisdom is so important, is because it makes whole all the various parts of our lives. And you see that. I think of older people, if they have lived any kind of a reflective life, have a wisdom about them. They may not be articulate in the ability to talk like a professional thinker, professional philosopher, or whatever, but they know how to touch the real. And that's the ultimate wisdom, is to see and touch the real. And I think you see that in older people because they have had to learn to live in a manner that is distinguished between the apparent and the real. In the beginning of life, it's hard to distinguish what looks like what's real, what looks important, to what really is. But as you live your life, you know in the end what is real. If nothing else, the passage of time evaporates out the meaninglessness of it all, meaning what are not capable of sustaining us, what are not a wisdom, but only an apparent wisdom. Because life is intolerant when it comes to false beliefs. It can't sustain you. The false beliefs will not sustain you. And I think you see that. I like being with old people because I think with older people you have I love being with the young, obviously. I teach for a living. But I like to be with the older too. Yeah, I had a compliment. My kids in class, one of the, I don't remember if it was a young man or a young woman. I tell you this already, I beat these things to death, but honest to God, he said to me, or she, I think it was a she, said to me, you don't teach philosophy, you teach wisdom. And it's because I tell stories. I remember a couple of years ago, a student, one of the young men in the class said, stop doing this other thing. I don't care about that. Tell us more stories. Tell us some stories. Isn't that neat? Tell us stories. I'm my father's son. I'm a storyteller. But you see, the great wisdom writers are storytellers, because in the narrative, one sees the true, the good and the beautiful. And it's not fake, it's real. See? That's the narrative. That's when you go from knowledge to wisdom. See? Wisdom is all embracive. It's active. What's that thing, that line, that great line? And we did it the other day. Wisdom is more active than all active things. It's a great line because it's true. Because it embraces the true, the good, and the beautiful. And we learn that in life. We learn it as we grow, as we allow life to teach us. Now, there's no fool like an old fool either. You can resist it. You can resist wisdom. You can refuse to let life teach you. See, it's not like God's going to whisper something in your ear. More likely your wife or husband telling you something, or your kids, or this or that. Sometimes out of the most innocent people, the truth is revealed. You know it. Just think of sometimes your grandchildren poking at you or something. I can't tell you what it is, but you can. And you could say, hi, the little runt nailed me, okay, because I was out of line, Stop yelling at mommy. Whatever. Life teaches us, and sometimes the wisdom comes not from a wise child, just a truthful one. Or it can be from an old man or an old woman who's seen it all and tasted it all, and has a peacefulness in her spirit. Boy, I see that. Our parish got old with me. I've been here 52 years. And these people were young with me. We were young together. Now we're old together. And I see the flowering of the wisdom, the flowering of the lives. Before, they were out coaching on the ball field. Now they're looking after their spouses. They're looking out for, they're mourning the dead. They're grieving the dead. There's a real subtle wisdom to it all. There's something beautiful in the older people as they pray and as they walk the remaining years of their lives. And the privilege I've had is to walk with them. We're all part of it. When I think of some of the folks that I've known 40 and 50 years, more, buried their parents, married, in many cases buried their spouses, in some really sad cases their children. That's the truth. And there's a wisdom, and there's a life, there's I don't know how to put it, there is a living wisdom in these people. And I'm privileged to be part of it. I hope I share what is wise with them as they share their wisdom with me, and they do. Sometimes in a humorous way. They keep me honest, okay? Just neat. The gang in the early morning mass at 6:30, there's a bunch of guys that meet afterwards going out, and there's something special about them. I love going in, and some of them are willing to give me a little kick in the shins, but not much, but for fun. But it's still, we're together, friends together. Isn't that neat? Wisdom is taught to us through life, and in life and by life, and by the people in our lives, by the events of our lives. Yes. But you have to have a heart open to allowing life to teach you. You can't fight it. You have to embrace life. And embracing it, she teaches you the great secrets, her great secrets, life-giving secrets.